let us discuss about this ESG, environmental, social, and governance. So, what is it and why it is important? We will see that. ESG stands for environment, social, and governance, and which is every company now they have to follow these standards. Okay, so ESG is about a set of standard for companies' operations that socially conscious investors use to screen potential investment. For any organization, if I ask you what is the most important thing that they should have to operate, so investment is one basic thing, right? Investors are looking into these things. What is the operation? What is the performance on the ESG criteria? This is the first thing. And second, to understand it in better way, ESG reporting refers to the disclosure of data covering the company's operations in three areas: environmental, social, and corporate governance. And why? It provides a snapshot of the business's impact in these three areas for investors. Because, and I would say not only investors, even governments, regulating bodies, even the customers want to know, even the partners want to know how their vendors are working, how their suppliers are working, what is their performance on these ESG criteria. And many governments are working on this. So if I ask you what is the full form of CSR, can anybody tell me? In India, we have achieved some milestone, I would say, in this front. Can anybody guess what can be the CSR? Don't worry about whether it is right or wrong.
Any hints, sir?
Okay, so one thing is common from ESG. That is one hint. Okay, one word is common. So I feel this is very clear that this S word is common. Right?
Corporate social.
Perfect, Pankaj. So corporate social responsibility, CSR. And why I told you that India has done some great work, okay? Because in India, if any organization has to work, they have to work in this CSR. They have to contribute to CSR. And why? In 2014, so we had companies rules. And under that section 135, which talks about if any profit-making company is having net worth more than 500 crore or turnover more than 1000 crore or net profit more than 5 crore, then they have to spend at least 2% of their net profit for the society, for the social upliftment. This is compulsory. Every company having these criteria, okay, they have to have one CSR committee, director level committee. Okay, so there will be directors of the company. They will be responsible that the company's 2% net profit goes for the society where they are working. So this is very important. In India, India was the first nation. So this is compulsory for every organization. This is one interesting fact. And if you think about the commonalities between this ESG and the CSR, because many of the countries, the CSR is either it is mandatory or it is voluntary. In India, it is mandatory. Okay, so every company has to do that. This is compulsory thing for them. And second part is, in order to operate, they are also have to work on this ESG, environmental, social, and governance. So there are multiple things, but one thing is common. Let me tell you. If you are the profit-making company, if you are earning something from the people, from that locality, you are using the resources, you are using the people, you are basically existed over there. So it is your responsibility, it is your duty to work for the benefit of the people around there. So there is social responsibility from the corporate. So that is the very clear idea, and which also resonates with the ESG criteria that we will discuss. Okay, so let's understand in detail what is this ESG, how there is common thing in the CSR as well. First of the E is environmental. So these criteria may include the company's energy use, the waste, the pollution that they are generating, the natural resource conservation, any activity, and the treatment of animals. So it's all about the natural resources, right? This criteria can help evaluate any environmental risk a company might face and how the company is managing those risks. If you ask me, is it only burden on the companies? I would say no, because if you know these are the risks that we have to face in the, let's say, next 10 years, then we can be well prepared to handle that kind of risk. It is said that perceived tactic is no tactic, right? So in business it is said, or in negotiations. So in the same way, I would say, if there is a risk, you know that risk very well, then you can manage it, right? So that is the benefit for companies. So there might be the issues with the ownership of contaminated land, disposal of hazardous waste, its management of toxic emissions, or the compliance with the government environmental bodies, so or regulations. And what is the worst scenario that can happen, so if any company doesn't pay attention on this, then government have the authority to shut down these organizations. Their operation, their license will be cancelled, so they'll stop functioning. So what can be the more important thing than this, right? So for the company, if you consider the top management also, what is the basic most important thing the company should run for a long time? And if they are not working in this, then it will shut immediately. And such kind of thing happened near to the Taj Mahal also, right? So in Delhi area, so there were a lot of polluting organizations, and there was tinting of the yellowish color of the Taj Mahal. So that was the issue, and the organizations were shut down. This is very important if you think in terms of companies, and which do not consider these, so they will face the unforeseen financial risk and investors scrutiny. So if not the environmental bodies or the government bodies, but still they will face the financial risk, and at the same time the investors will also probe into that. Let us take one example. Okay, so how and why this is important, and how much important this is. This is the city in the US, United States, New Orleans. Okay, so this is the perfect storyline that you can visualize for the horror movie. Okay, so I'm sure you might have watched the horror movies. So what happened? You go to some new place, you don't know about that, and there is some history about it, and which is very, I would say, tragic, right? So same thing happened over here, but that is the real issue. The people are still struggling with that. So there was some industrial activities. There was one dump site. Okay, toxic dump site. So where all the hazardous waste were put. But after that, what happened during the 1980s and 90s? Government had some development plan. They put that to the sell, and the people can buy that land, and the housing plan was there. So people bought it during 1990s, 80s and 90s. But they were not knowing there were carcinogenic toxic chemicals. Whatever the toxic chemical, you name it, it was there. And after that, what happened? Every person from every single family, they were having cancer. At least one member from each family. And when the probe went ahead, so all the details after that came out, that this was a very dangerous toxic site, and which was not taken care by the organization which worked before. Second thing, the government also didn't took care about to probe into this and then give the confirmation, and ultimately the people suffered a lot into this, right? So if you are considering yourself as any organization, any business, you should think about this. Why? Because such kind of people, can you think these people will have the positive outlook towards the company or towards whichever organization which is cause for this all suffering? So they will outrightly reject this company, right? So that is most important thing for the survival of business. So this is, I think, the paramount thing that organization should work. And second thing, which is about the social. So these are the things which will deal about how the company fosters its people and culture, and how the ripple effect is on the broader community. Some of the factors are gender and diversity, employee engagement, customer satisfaction, data protection. How serious is the company about the privacy of their employees or the community relations, human rights, labor standards? If you get some insights, so this is all about whatever the organization is operating. So what are the social repercussions on the people who are directly or indirectly linked to the business of the organization, right? So it may, some of the questions that you can ask is, let's say I am the organization which is saying that I am the best, at least I'm working fine in terms of social, but are your suppliers also having the same values? If I'm buying the products which are, we call it as ethically sourced material. Okay, so if I'm not having that kind of values, then the complete operation have the negative impact as well. And does the company donate the percentage of profit for the local community or not? Health and safety, what are the regulations in the company? Are the stakeholders' interest taken into account or not? So these are some of the questions, these are some of the parameters under the social, the second point. And the third, that is about the governance. Governance is all about the system, because whatever is happening in the organization, whether we talk in terms of environment or social, there has to be some policy, there has to be some way which will have the control on all this. And that's how the business works, right? Or any organization work. So it control practices and procedures, how the organization stays ahead of violations. So instead of correcting it, how they can avoid that. It ensures transparency and industry's best practices, including dialogue with regulators. So these are some of the important things that organizations should consider. So what are the things? So you might have seen about the bribery and the corruption thing happening in the organization. So how organization control the bribery or such kind of things, or the whistleblower. So this is, I think, the familiar word for you. In the previous 4 to 5 years, we have listened this word. So whistleblower policy is something where if there is something wrong is happening in the organization and you know about it, so can you report it to someone in the organization who have the authority to correct it? So that is the whistleblower policies. So whether the organization have it or not, and how they work around audit or the compliance part. So that is all comes under the governance. Cumulation of all these three: environmental, social, and governance. For each of the criteria, there are some matrices to report on. So on which the data is collected for the each metrics, and these values are compiled together to give the final ESG score. So for every organization, there will be one ESG score. And the organization which is working on all these factors, so they're considering, so they're called as organizations with good ESG score, right? So they are the proactive business with lower investment risk. So if you just think about the investment point of view, the organization which are thinking about all these things, which will be better to work for, which are better to be associated with as an employer, as a partnership, or for any kind of relation as well. Right. So why it is important? First point is about the total number of voluntary and mandatory provisions in different countries has increased significantly from 2006. So if you talk about the previous 15 years, 15, 16 years, this has increased tremendously. Every organization, and I'm requesting you to check it, and we will also see, every big organization is having the team of the ESG experts, and they are working on these reports. So every year they are publishing the reports. Also, government and financial regulators remain the most active when issuing the reporting requirements, and you can also take the stock exchanges or industry bodies, so they are also favorable for this. And it's getting the momentum worldwide. Behavior shift in the investor table, we would call, and also at the consumer side as well. And over 95 of the S&P 500 report ESG results, metrics, and accomplishments. So this is something that's why every organization is going for that. If you ask me, so what is happening practically? What is happening all over the world? So let's discuss United Nations and the similar organizations, the financial organizations as well. So they work together and they publish one report. So what is the requirement and what every organization should pay attention to? After that, it was very clear all the big organizations required to contribute into this. They have to consider all these factors. Also, long-term employability, if you think about, and to cope with the challenges of the future, this kind of analysis is paramount. It is very, very essential. And also the awareness at the global level is also one of the important things for which the organizations are concerned about. I'll display some of the names, okay, and we will also go directly on this website because this part is very dynamic. I don't want to show it on the PPT, but I have listed some of the names. So whether you go for Google or Microsoft or Tata, so I have taken this as the company from India, and also the financial institutions like JP Morgan or the Goldman Sachs. So you can go to any other organization as well, and you can see. Let's go to the Tata's website, okay, and let's see. So let me please know, can you see the Tata Sustainability Group? We are on the website. Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you please confirm? Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this is one example. Okay, so we are here at Tata Sustainability Group. Okay, so what is Tata doing for this sustainability? So let's make it clear one thing. Whether we talk about sustainability, whether we talk about the ESG, or whether we are talking about the similar reporting formats, okay, we will see that they all have common things. Around 80 to 90% things are common. Okay, if you just scroll down, what is sustainability at glance for the Tata? Okay, so top 15 sustainability leaders globally. Okay, so that is one report. Best corporate volunteering program, so which is, again, you can link the CSR, ESG and sustainability over here. Okay, right. So whether we talk about climate change or water or the circular economy that we discuss in detail in our second day, or you talk about community initiatives. So these are some of the things that every organization are working on, and every year they have to publish one report. Okay, so if you check for individual Tata group also, so Tata Motors or Tata Power, so you will also find the ESG reporting over there. Okay, so this is most important thing, and I would request you, please check with the other organizations which you know. Okay, so we can also go ahead and we will discuss in much more detail as well. What I want to go next is key trends that will drive the ESG agenda in 2020. So here also we will go directly to the website. We are at S&P Global. Can you please confirm once?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect, Pankaj. Thanks. Where you can see what are the trends that will drive the ESG in the coming year. So as you can see, total sustainability debt issuance reached. Just take the gist of this complete report. The intersection of the ESG trend for 2022. So what we talked about, the ESG one is about environment, then social and governance. If you take about the intersection of all these three, so which is about credible sustainable debt market, or the ESG skill corporate board and government leaders, divestment versus engagement. So divestment from the conventional, let's say crude oil or similar things, or the credible disclosure, so which is very central to this all three. To talk about environment and social, just transition plans, so which is very clear. Social and governance, it's about social issues in supply chain. In today's purview, Ukraine and Russia war, you can see the issues that are for the global supply chain. Currently, the material which is sourced from one continent, one nation, is manufactured in another country, another nation, another continent even, and sold to all over the world also. So supply chain disruptions to the supply chain are one of the important things. And when we talk about environment and the governance, so what about net zero actions, climate stress test in financial services? So these are all important things. And you will see that pressure will grow on the corporate boards and government leaders to enhance their ESG skills. They will face the rising pressure to demonstrate that they are adequately equipped to understand and oversee these issues. Everything is, if you talk about the consumers, if you talk about the investors, so they are more prone towards this. What is the performance of the organization? Big organizations, you just name it, they are working in this. Okay, so they are having their reports published for each year.
Please subscribe to stay connected and press bell icon to get all notifications of upcoming videos. You can join the channel to get exclusive content and support Sustainability Simplified to create such educational content. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.